Wow! What's happening, everybody? This your boy, Stanley Doucette. We coming live. We coming live back at you on this Monday. Welcome to Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. I am here, your host, and I want to welcome everybody to excuse me, I can't even talk today, to this next podcast. I'm all into somewhere else. So listen, for everybody that's logging in today from wherever you're calling in from, whether you're calling in from Africa or you calling in from South America, whether you're calling in from New Orleans, Louisiana, I just want to say, whoa, now what's happening? We are here live. I have something I want to share with you guys. And actually, this probably be one of the shortest podcasts that I have ever done. Then I might start to talk and then change all of that. But I want to say and share with you guys, this has been just bubbling up in my spirit. So before I get into that, I want to say hello to all of our first time guests. Everybody that's listening for the very first time, hello, thank you so much for logging in. As a matter of fact, if this is your first time or you've been rocking with us for all six seasons, thank you. What I'm asking you guys to do me a favor and share this with everybody in your friend circle. Share this with everybody on your friendships, your relationships, and just share it with all of your social medias. And just tell them we welcome them to come and listen and to come be a part of the family of Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. Now, I done got all of that out the way. Let me get serious for a second. Whew. For the last, I'll probably say for the last week, 2 weeks, I have been having this particular word that just continues to come back. And come back and come back and come back. And that word simply is alignment. Very rarely do I get a specific word and it consistently comes back to me over and over and over. Not only is it coming back to me during prayer, not only is it coming back to me in conversations that I'm having with different people, but it's also popping up online. It's popping up on YouTube. It's just like this blaring light on alignment, right? I'm going to share with you guys some of the things I believe in terms of alignment from a spiritual aspect. Now, we know you can have alignment with relationships, you can have alignment with business, you can have an alignment with athletics and so on. But I want to talk specifically from an alignment from this standpoint. And that is just what is alignment, and just kind of break all of those different principles of alignment down. When I think of this powerful word of alignment, one of the things that I really deeply think about wholeheartedly is this. When something is misaligned, it creates friction, right? When something is misaligned, it creates friction. It's just simple. I'm not going deep. Just really that way of discussing it or describing it. And let me give you an example of what I mean by misaligned that creates friction. When your car that you're driving is out of alignment, it may pull to the left or it may pull to the right, right? And when you're driving, you're constantly keeping more strain or stress or weight on the steering wheel and the opposite side so the vehicle can continue to go straight. Well, if you take your hand and just let the car go itself, it may veer off to the left or veer off to the right. Well, the misalignment and the resistance creates resistance, creates friction and all those things is because we're constantly pulling to the opposite side to keep the car going straight, right? That's one way I view it. Here's another way I view it. When something is misaligned and you have misalignment, let's say like a pipe, if it's off a little bit, it can create a leak. It can create all kind of other things because it's misaligned. and it's not a natural flow. On the opposite end, when everything is in alignment, it creates a flow. Now, this just popped into my head. When you're talking about that, think about this. And I don't know, I just thought about my good friend, Robert Mabry, when I thought about this. But I want you guys to think about this. You have an alignment of flow, and it's flowing. Well, you start to dig down into money. If you start to dig down into currency and, all of the root words and where it comes from and all of that stuff, the Latin side and the this side and the that side, you start digging into it. How do I want to say it? If you dig down into that, I want you to think about this. Currency is a flow, but you also can have things that are misaligned to throw off your actual flow. Well, when you are in alignment with your currency, it's a constant flow. Think about the Alaskan pipeline. When I saw a documentary on that, I saw this big old pipe, and it's a constant flow of oil and gas just flowing through it. I mean, the flow is the pressure in it is so mightily, right? Even when they repair it, they have to do it in certain ways. If not, it would literally explode. So think of it like that when you're talking about alignment. Now let me talk about it from your spiritual alignment. And the first question that I just simply have is, are we in alignment with our Creator? Are we actually in alignment with our Creator? Are we in alignment with God? Are we truly in alignment? Because the same as the Alaskan pipeline, that's a constant flow because everything is in alignment. If you have a water pipe and it's off, it's starting to leak. It's out of alignment, right? So today, when we're talking about alignment, I want us to think about it in terms of your spiritual father. I'm talking about God in heaven. Are you in perfect alignment, or are you off a little bit that's creating a leak so you can't get the full weight of everything that he has for you, right? Or is that where we are? See, we have to think about, many of us have been praying for whether it's our breakthroughs, whether it's increase, whether it's favor, whether it's abundance, living in permanent abundance, whether it's wisdom, and so on. So we've been praying for that, right? Just because we're doing some research, because I believe wholeheartedly that stuff is going to happen suddenly. I mean, just suddenly, out of the blue, just bam, it hit. Now, if I believe that, what I'm doing is an autopsy on making sure I'm in perfect alignment with the Creator himself. Because we don't want nothing to hinder. We've already worked on ourselves. We've already worked on capacity. We've increased our capacity to receive a life. Listen to this, a life of abundance, meaning living in the life, living in the spirit, living in the power of permanent abundance, right? I'm talking about all good things constantly flowing to you without any hindrance, out of anything that's out of alignment. It is just constantly flowing to you, right? So we're doing that, and we've been praying for that for the longest, which is great. But now I have to think, okay, am I out of alignment? So as I'm praying, and now I'm doing an autopsy to make sure that I'm in perfect alignment, right? Because what if heaven has already released everything? They're not waiting to release it. They've already released it. But it's held up because we're not in alignment, right? And heaven is waiting for us to come into alignment. So if we're waiting to come into alignment, that means we got to do some things to get into alignment, right? We have to be in a place to make sure that we're not swaying back and forward, or we're not waiting for this and waiting for that. We're going to do this great on this side, but we don't want to give up sweets, or or the doctor say, hey, don't eat any of this, but we constantly eating that. No, we're in perfect alignment. Perfect alignment. Maybe the next season of our lives isn't about getting more. What about if it's about becoming more aligned? Woo! Because if you're in alignment, there's no stopping the flow. So think about that. But now let me kind of digress a little bit and go back and then say, so what is alignment, right? What is alignment? See, the first part, if you will, what I just discussed, is more about the invitation of getting in alignment. So if you was writing something down, just say part one is the invitation, getting into alignment. Getting into alignment. It's an invitation to get into alignment. Now, here's a powerful power behind an invitation. An invitation is just that you're invited to come, but it's not forcing you to come. See the difference? See, as an invitation to becoming in alignment with God, that means you have to be obedient. And sometimes we don't want to do that. So this invitation about coming into an alignment, we have a choice. We can choose to do it and come into alignment, or we can have a choice of not coming into an alignment, right? It's up to you. But I say with the invitation, and if you're listening to this podcast, whether it's during the air time, whether it's at a different time, whether it's at night, early morning, and you're listening to this, I firmly believe this actual podcast was specific to you. This is not a general podcast. This is very, very specific, and it's about the alignment. You've been praying for something, and it's about the alignment. So the first thing is part one, if you will, or the number one, is the invitation to get into alignment. Only you know what those things are. So we have to make sure that we're getting into alignment. Number two, let's talk about the meaning of alignment, because a lot of times we hear alignment, we may not also always get it. So alignment is bringing your life, my life, our lives into agreement with God's will. Let me say that again. Alignment is bringing your life into agreement with God's will, not my will. And it said, not my will, but thy will be done. We talk about when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and it's a lot of pressure right there. It's easy to give up. It's easy to be like, I don't want this. And he was saying, if you can take this cup away from you, can take this pain away from you, if you can take this misalignment away from me, if you can do all of that stuff. And then he finally said, nevertheless, not my will, but let your will be done. My question that I asked to my family that's out there, and we start breaking down this meaning, right? Are we allowing his will to be done in our lives? Or are we being so important that we're in our own will? That's a difference. It's when our heart's desires what God's heart desire. Let me just be transparent. That is difficult on days. Is the mic on? I'm just can tell y'all right now. That is extremely difficult at times, right? Yeah, some things that you have overcame and it doesn't affect you. Of course, your heart has desires of his desires. But when it's something you really want, and he's saying, walk away from that, woo, that gets tough sometimes. I know some of you guys may not want to walk this walk, but you got to look into your own thoughts and understand that. Your thoughts reflect his truth. Your own thoughts. You got to have pure thoughts, all right? You can't say it out your mouth publicly, but your actions and your thoughts are something different. So your thoughts have to reflect his truth. Listen to that. Your thoughts have to reflect his truth. Gee, man, that's your words have to agree with his promises. You can't say, oh yeah, everybody else is good enough, but I'm not good enough to get that. You can't talk down upon yourself. You can't say what you're not. Because when you really go through scripture and you start talking about you are sons and you are daughters, you are queens, you're a king, all of those things, you start thinking about that. But you'll sit there and say, oh, I don't know if I could get this job. Or, oh, I don't know if I could get this. Well, whose report will you believe? Whose report will you believe? So words agree with his promises. Make sure your words agree with his promises. Here's another one. Make sure your actions demonstrates faith, your faith. Make sure your actions demonstrate your faith. Make sure your actions demonstrate your faith. Not something else, but it demonstrates your faith. Your life follows his direction. Now that's another hard one because there are days, is the mic on? Yep, it's on. That I really want to slap somebody. Let's be honest. I just want to slap the taste out of somebody's mouth. But is that what God would do? Let's not play with it. Is that really what God would do? There are times where people do some things that absolutely are out of order and wrong, right? But what would God do in that situation? What is his direction with that? Where is he taking you? And we have to think about those things. See, most times we don't want to think about it. We want to turn and reflect on other people, but now let's reflect on ourselves. God has never struggled to bless any of us. He's never struggled to bless any of us. The question has always been whether we were positioned to receive what he wants to release. Are we in position to receive what he wants to release? Because I know for a fact what we have been praying for and what he wants to release is two totally separate things. One is too small from what the other one wants to release. You may be saying, if I could get this job and if I'm working for the federal government and if I could get this GS-11 or if I could get this GS-13 or 14, right, or 15, hey, I'm all of that. And he may be saying, I want you to run the whole department. See how those things they're two totally different things. That's what I mean. So when I say the question has always been whether we were positioned to receive what God wants to release. Make sure you position yourself. Think about it again. The Alaskan pipeline. Everything is smooth. Everything is work and flow. There's nothing misaligned. There's no leaks. It's just a constant flow. It's a constant flow. When we align ourselves like that, we're positioning ourselves to receive what he wants to release. And you know, when you get in alignment, a lot of times, I don't want this to be confused, but when we get into alignment is not about earning God's favor. It's not about earning his favor. You're already his son and his daughter. It's not about garnering or doing whatever to get his favor. It's about positioning ourselves to walk in his purpose. I should have had everybody write this down. So remember, alignment is not about earning God's favor. It's about positioning ourselves to walk in his purpose. Now, when you walk into his purpose, man, you talking about a beautiful alignment. I can tell you, as a matter of fact, it takes away so much pressure. It takes away so much stress, because now my life is yours. You got to make this all work. I don't even know how to do it, but he works it out every single time. He massages it. He irons it out, and it just flows. And guess what? All of the pressure is released. My blood pressure goes down when I just give it to him. When I start thinking, Lord, I don't know how this is going to happen. Yeah, I don't. But when I give it to him, take my hands off it and say, hey, God is on you, whoo, the pressure is released, right? So what happens when we're out of alignment? What happens when we're out of alignment? Man, just when we're out of alignment, it's just crazy, right? A seed, let me do number three. Number three is the principle. A seed can contain everything necessary for life, but if it's planted in the wrong soil, it will never reach its full potential. Let me say that again. This is the principle of alignment. A seed can contain everything necessary for life, but if it's planted in the wrong soil or the wrong season or the wrong location, it will never reach its full potential. It's the same with us. It's the absolute same with us. Misalignment, as I stated earlier, creates resistance. However, alignment creates the flow. When you're aligned with God, listen to me. When you're aligned with God, you stop forcing doors He never intended to open. Let me just pop this one in here. When you're in alignment with God, some of those relationships that you're trying to hold on to, those doors are closed. When you're in perfect alignment with God, some of those guys or women you're trying to holler at, I don't care how cute, how fine, how beautiful, those marriages and those things you have in your head, when those doors are closed, those are the doors He never intended to open for, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a relationship, whether it's school, whatever it is. He never intended to open those doors. You can stop chasing what was never assigned to you. Stop chasing him. Stop chasing her. Stop chasing the job. Stop chasing the car. Stop chasing the house. Stop chasing the this. Stop chasing the that. Stop chasing church. All of those things. You stop chasing what was never assigned to you. Stop chasing what was never assigned to you. Stop chasing it. You may have this idea about business, right? And that's great. And you may say, oh man, this is great. But you keep trying to figure out, well, matter of fact, I'm going to tell you a story, right? Some of you guys have heard this story before about me being in having a couple of bounce houses and me having a spacewalk business. And all of it was good because I wanted to be in business. So it was cool. I was doing it for $80. Like I rent them all day for $80. I know the math ain't mathing, but y'all rock with me. Don't talk about it. Just rock with me. And it was cool. Kept them clean, kept them up, all of that stuff. Had several compliments. People would just give me $100 and thank me, and it was great. But the math wasn't mathing. Because remember, it was just me. It was just us two. But it was not mathing, right? It was not in alignment. But I wanted to be in business. See, God just wanted me to be in business. He necessarily said that He wanted me to be in the spacewalk business. So once I realized that in my thick, crazy self, and I got out of it, all of a sudden, there was another door that He opened. And when He opened the door, I became into perfect alignment, right? I got into perfect alignment, and from there, I can't even express to y'all the amount of favor and the amount of glory and the amount of things that have came through my one voice business. I can't even express to you guys how powerful it has been. So when we stop chasing the wrong thing and get into perfect alignment with Him, I can't even express the favor that you're going to have. Stop exhausting yourself trying to manufacture what only God can provide. That brings me to church. A lot of churches try to manufacture the glory of God. You can't, because you're not in alignment. Let me say that again with all of the bass I could put in my voice. We're chasing things that we're not in alignment with to receive God's glory. So we can stop exhausting ourselves trying to manufacture, man-made, what only God can provide. Instead, begin walking in His timing, His peace, His perfect, His alignment. When we start doing that, all kind of magical things will happen. And guess what? When that happens, that's when favor starts to show up. I'm a living witness. I'm telling you guys, from the spacewalk business, it was just a debacle. To getting out of that and getting into this one voice, all of a sudden favor hit. And I mean, it just was amazing. It was amazing the amount of favor hit. I have friends that was in one voice with us from day one up until today, that our bond is so strong. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to call his name out, but one of the guys was in my wedding. One of the guys I actually called when my dad died. He was the first person I called. One voice. Yeah. See, all of those things create that favor. That's where abundance starts to make sense. Yeah, I'm telling you. That's where abundance starts to make sense. So let me get on out of here because it starts to get good to me when you start talking about alignment. Think about this, not because you're chasing it, but because you're walking where God is already moving. You can, let me just stop your car, pull on the side of the road, stop sewing, stop washing your dishes, and listen to this. If you're running to where God has already left, you might as well stop and turn around and go home. Let me say that again. If you're running where God has already left, you might as well stop, pack your bags, and go back home. Because there's no glory there. There's no weight there. His presence is not there. You might as well just go ahead on back home. So let's get into the most important question. Number 4. Right? Our response. So here's the question. Don't ask only, God, bless what I'm doing. That's kind of selfish. But ask, Lord, align me with what you're doing. See, that means you're not running somewhere He's not. You're aligning yourself with where He's going. That's the great part of it. Our prayer asks God to support your plans. One prayer asks, I say that wrong. One prayer asks God to support your plans. The other, this is the important part, the other surrenders your plans to His purpose. See how that works? It's no longer on you. You gave it all to Him. So now you've surrendered everything that you had. How many times have you had plans to do this, and this, right? You have it all mapped out. You got it, all structured and everything. And then God comes along, and because you have surrendered, and move you from all of that and move you now into His purpose. And all of a sudden, things you never thought about, and people coming from everywhere, all kind of things in favor just flowing your way, because we have surrendered ourselves and our plans, and we have now walked into His purpose. And when life comes into alignment with His will, you discover that breakthrough isn't something you have to chase. You just don't have to chase it because you're in His will. It's something you become positioned to receive. It's something you become positioned to receive. When you're positioned to receive it, now He can just release it. He can just release it. Believe God is aligning people in this season. I firmly believe God is aligning people in this season. I don't think it was happenstance that the word alignment keeps coming back. Alignment keeps coming back. Alignment keeps coming back. See, there are people that are out there that want to date her or date him, right? But it's always seemed to be something because it's not aligned. It's not aligned. Everything may look cool, but it's something that's not aligned. It's not in its right place. It's not aligned. Because as soon as it aligns, it's going to flow. Some relationships will even shift. Is this mic on? Yep. Some relationships will even shift. Business, family, friends, relatives, people you want to date, marriages. Some relationships will shift. Some opportunities will appear from nowhere. I have a friend, I'm not calling their name out, but all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, something popped on their desk. And when it popped on their desk, they walked in that opportunity because they were in alignment. And all of a sudden, out of all of the candidates, they got this particular job with an increase of what they were doing and better time off, better pay, better everything. All of a sudden, because they are in alignment. And then let me give you the other side. Some doors will close. Woo! Yeah. See, sometimes we got to thank God for the closed doors, because we don't always want to get happy with that. But sometimes we have to get happy with the closed doors, because that is just directing us where we want to be. See, once we in the right alignment, a closed door doesn't bother us. It doesn't. Some assignments will become more clear. See, sometimes you're doing things and you're trying to figure it out, but then the assignment, when you're in perfect alignment, will become very, very clear. Here's something. I want to just put this as not a caution, but I just want to put this out here, raise something for everybody. Don't resist the adjustment. Don't resist the adjustment. Remember, he is not, when I say he, I'm referring to God. God is not taking something from you. He's positioning you for something greater. Woo! See, sometimes we got to get pruned, and some of the stuff we got to, strip away and get away from us and close doors and all of that. And we sometimes we'll think that, oh my God, this adjustment, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. But he is just positioning us for something greater. Because breakthrough isn't just about what God is releasing. It's also about where you're standing when he releases it. If you're in perfect alignment when he releases it, and you're in perfect alignment, it just flows. It just flows. It just flows. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. It's no strain. There's no stress. There's no pressure. There's none of that. It just flows. It's also about where you're standing when he releases it. I want you to picture that. If you think about the Alaskan pipeline, right? And you know how it's just flowing, it's just flowing, it's just flowing. If it's just flowing, it's just flowing, it's just flowing. But if the pipeline itself shifts, and one part shifts to the right and the other shifts to the left, they're out of alignment. So now where the pipeline stands is out of alignment. But the adjustment, right? God adjusts that. Fix that, and now you're back into perfect alignment. Let me leave you with this thought. I know I'm pausing because I'm starting to get happy, but let me leave you with this part. Alignment is the posture that positions you to receive what God has already prepared. Let me say that again. Alignment is the posture that positions you to receive what God has already prepared. Write that down. Let me say it one more again. Alignment is the posture that positions you to receive what God has already prepared. Now that, my friend, you can't beat that. I told y'all I wanted to do something quick, something fast, something in a hurry, right? Something that has been trickling in my spirit for so long. But I wanted to share this with you guys because alignment consistently comes back. And when it keeps coming back, at least to me like that, that means I have to say something on it. So I wanted to share it with you, with my family, because a lot of us are actually in alignment. And we're waiting for the download, for the release, for the pour. I think I said something the other day on my social media. I can't remember what it suddenly. That's what it was. It was just I was just doing something, kept thinking an alignment, and all of a sudden the word "suddenly" kept hitting me. Suddenly. I believe it's going to happen suddenly. It's going to happen out of nowhere. You're not going to figure out how it came, but it's going to happen suddenly. And I'm not talking about this is going to happen 55 years from now. I'm talking about be in expectation right now. Be in expectation right now. Guys, I'm going to close out right there. So listen, next week on Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette, I'm working on trying to get my frat brother our schedules to align so he can do a podcast. And I want to do something for men. Now, ladies, I know y'all all be like, oh, you doing something for men. No, I want to do it because I do a lot for y'all, but I want to do something for men. So listen, I appreciate you guys logging in today. Y'all know I love y'all. Don't forget, go to Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette.com. You can catch all of our previous episodes. Go to our YouTube page, like, subscribe, share on our YouTube page. I would love for you guys to do that. Go to all of our social media pages and do the same thing. So listen, with that being said, I love each and every one of you. God bless, and I will see you guys next week on Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. I'm out. Peace.